Don't turn personal prescriptions into purported absolutes. That is something that is worth considering. Meaning, it is quite likely that we have, at some point or another, come across statements from a given person that seem preposterous, particularly as it concerns what should and shouldn't be done universally. So, what are some common examples? Let's say that I don't want children. Fine, but I say children are for no one. Anybody that has children is an idiot. Let's say I don't want to get married. Great. Marriage is for fools. Everybody that gets married is a sucker. Let's say that I don't want to pursue higher education. Phenomenal. Right? Higher education is for no one. Everybody that opts for higher education is just a complete dummy. Let's say that I don't like sports. Everybody that plays sports is dumb. They're all fools and destroying their bodies. I like a particular diet. Everybody that does other diets is obviously the biggest idiot on the planet, and so forth and so on. Why do we do this? And how can it be perhaps avoided? Well, the obvious kind of operative explanatory terms here in this connection would be pride and self-centeredness. I'm both proud and self-centered, and therefore I do not want to consider that which works for me might not work for others, and that which does not work for me might work for others, especially if that implicates me or infers my inferiority, or indicates, should we say, my inferiority in any way. So let's say that, for example, I don't feel personally that I am psychologically constituted so as to be able to have children, whatever the reason might be. I can leave it at that and say, yeah, but it's amazing that others do, and I appreciate my nephews if I have any, nieces if I have any, the children of my friends, whatever the case might be, and just overall children, they're great. But maybe the reason I don't want to have children is that my idiosyncratic psychology is a little bit mistuned, should we say, which is not, needless to say, not always the case. It just might be the case. And in this case, the fact that I don't want to have children implicates me and makes me feel, or could make me feel if I thought about it, inferior. Most people have children. My parents had me, at least. But I don't feel able to do that. And that could mean that there's something off with me. And therefore, I can't have that. So I say anybody and everybody that has children is a sucker. There's even philosophically formulated positions like that. If you bring children into the world, and you're a bad person, because who knows? Let's say that I'm not exactly Mr. or Miss pro-social, and I have difficulty understanding others, connecting with others, and so forth. Fine, if I could be humble about it and accept help and try to grow and develop per my capacities, nobody would have anything to say. But if I have that pride and I have that self-centeredness, I can't bear the idea that other people are easily able to form friendships and romantic relationships and so forth. That pains me because it makes me feel inferior. And therefore, I might say something like, marriage is for nobody. If you get married, you're a sucker, 100% no matter what. Friendships are all fake. It's all people using each other, maybe even for profit or something like this. It's all nonsense. We see the problem there. Maybe I personally feel myself narrowed down to my psychophysical little spot of selfish egoism. And I don't feel that there's anything beyond me or transcendent of me whatsoever. If I could be humble about it, that would be the road to changing that. But if I have that pride and I have that self-centeredness, I'm liable to say this must be the necessary character of the human condition. Anybody and everybody either must be like me if they're sane, or they're an idiot. Anybody out there, even if it's billions of people that do feel that there's something beyond their egoism, that do feel that they're Selfishness is not the very rooftop of reality. They are all fools. They're all silly. I'm the superior one. Because, of course, thinking otherwise would make me feel inferior. And on, of course, we could go with probably endless specific enough examples. So, what is there to say? Well, if I can develop a little bit of self-awareness, then perhaps I could try to spot any such areas where I am illicitly, meaning inappropriately universalizing what is particular to me. Sometimes it's not because I have any deficits or issues. For example, I like chocolate chip ice cream, and you like other flavors. Other people like other flavors. That would be really silly for me to say that people are only allowed or only should like chocolate chip ice cream. But even if I said that, there's nothing wrong with just liking chocolate chip ice cream. That's just my personal preference. But oftentimes, these universal prescriptions, again, stem from an implicit, a little bit maybe or a lot unconscious understanding that there's something off with me. And therefore, if I were to not universalize, if I were to not say, just these are examples, say children are for nobody, relationships are for nobody, then I would be implicated. My inferiority would be implicated and I would feel bad. So I can try to recognize that and understand that humility and self-awareness is incalculably superior to unconscious, deceptive, such maneuvering, where I'm fleeing from any intimations that I am in some ways worse than others. It's okay to be worse than others. It's okay to have problems. It's okay to have deficits and deficiencies. Combine that with humility and self-awareness, and I'll be well on my way to being the best version of me that I can be. Retain that pride. Retain that self-centeredness. And then, aside from being likely to make such silly statements, universalizing what is particular to me, there will be no chance, while I remain like that, of ever actually improving. So the better bet is catch myself where I'm making those statements, think about why, and then try to, develop a little bit of self-awareness and humility. Thank you for listening.